Hey everybody. So I'm here today to talk about the holidays. I've had an interesting journey with the holidays. Some of it I could tell the emotional journey was personal to me. And then a lot of it, since I begun to learn about my personality type, made a little sense. Like, I think I was being too hard on myself personally. I did not understand my own type, witnessing myself within all the other types. Okay? So a lot of the differences for me came when I could throw myself into some understanding, into something I could look at and compare, rather than just having this me floating around out there trying to understand myself for 45 years. So, many years ago I knew I was a type, but even then I didn't know about the rarity. And the reason why that's important is because there are no examples out there. If you don't have an understanding of this, you might think something's quote unquote wrong with you, because that's the message from other people. That's the reflection, because you're different. They interpret that as wrong, and they watch you suffering sometimes, and they don't understand it. Okay, I know I'm married to one, so I have a perfect example of someone that is a clear opposite of me. So I could look out his eyes and see myself and try to understand myself in a different way, where I have some, I don't even want to call them weaknesses, just tendencies. So let me just get to the theme of this video, which is, for me, where I live in America, it's Christmas. Christmas is everywhere. And even though we're the melting pot, it's primarily the Christian Christmas. I grew up with that. I had a lot of wonderful memories. Even though my home life wasn't that great, my parents loved Christmas. So it was a very special time for me. They were happy. I could feel it. My dad liked decorating. My mom liked singing. Sorry. So Christmas, I spent a lot of Christmases, even in my 20s, just being happy with my husband. This is not the theme of the video. You're getting an INFJ meltdown while I'm laughing. Yeah, that's typical. All right, moving on. So I would always put up a tree. I would decorate. Again, my family was around, my parents were alive, so that I know that had to do with it. But also, where the INFJ thing comes in, as I got older, I started thinking too hard about it. I started really thinking, because everything had to have purpose for me. This is part of our trait, or I like to say tendencies. It's a tendency to focus on meaning. And I like that about myself. I really do. I like that I need to feel something before I act. That's just me. It makes sense to me. But where I let it get me down in my 30s, when I didn't know any better, was just this example of decorating for Christmas. Going in the basement, rifling around, getting a tree. There's no children here, so it really came down to just me having this association with these articles: Christmas tree, wreath, boxes of Christmas. And we love to think and analyze. So if you didn't have kids to decorate for, would you still decorate? Or would you do what I did, which is drive myself crazy? And this is a happy ending. I wouldn't even start to tell the story unless it had a happy ending, which I think is also part of our trait. Toby's playing in his boxes. Which is why, part of this trait is to think about all of these things. So without children here, it's just me and my husband. So I would always feel badly and tell myself things if I didn't do it. Didn't string lights out on the porch. I would tell myself these things. I was my own worst enemy back then. The moral of the story is I was feeling bad and I was in control of that. I was telling myself things that did not matter. That's where I'm going with this. And I want to just walk you through the experience in case you might be at the beginning of what I was going through or the middle. If you already solved this, you're probably not tuning in, and that's great because I don't want to waste your time either. I'm just trying to help people that were where I was, which is staring at a box of Christmas ornaments and feeling bad year after year. Sometimes I would get some kind of false energy from, half a pot of coffee on some Christmases and just go down there and throw up all the stuff. And maybe feel badly because my husband was telling me he didn't really need the stuff, but I didn't want to take a chance on taking that away from him because this is part of what we do. We're so sensitive and we're so into everyone else that we have ourselves convinced that we know other people better than they know themselves. And there is a bit of truth to that, but not for this video. Sometimes you actually have to believe the person when they say they do not care. They do not care. And even if they did, it's not your job to go that deep into another person to create something you think that they need, even though they're not aware of it. Yeah, that's how deep INFJs go. In case you're not one of us, we go deep. So what that looks like was me putting out lights on the porch because I thought my husband works long hours, long weeks, and wouldn't it be nice for him to have a little twinkle of joy in the house as he drives up the dark country road, right? You probably can see where this is going. He didn't care. Of course he didn't care. I think some of this is gender too, which is interesting. Females, we always want to create warmth and nurturing and caring, and they're not really in the vicinity of grabbing all that. So I was just so concerned with what he thought and what my friends would say, because I have an externally oriented girlfriend who would come visit, and oh man, if you don't have a tree up, Beth, where's your tree? And she'd literally say that. It wasn't even about me worrying. This is her. She said that. But I didn't have to care. And I don't think I really did, but I may have put something up on the mantle like, here you go, public. Here's your Christmas, okay? Just get off of my back. I did it. All right? But I didn't even have to explain it that way in my 30s. I didn't have to even put up a facade. What it comes down to is if you want to do it, you'll do it. And then leave everything else alone. But I spent years torturing myself and feeling bad and shouldn't I? This one will think that. It's only once a year, everyone's doing it. But it needed meaning, and I had to delve into the church histories and Christmas. And when you do that, you're going to find a lot of different information. You're going to find evidence of 6 different Santa Clauses. It's just, you don't have to go that deep. That's what I could entitle this, but I don't want to give away the ending of this. You don't have to go that deep. And I had an inkling on the peripheral for a long time, probably a decade, I had an inkling that I didn't have to be going through that trauma and hurting myself about don't I decorate. Because my husband has this little tiny grandmother. She's a force of nature, 4 foot nothing. She looks, if you ran into her, you'd think she's been called a bag lady. She's not a bag lady. She just marches to the beat of her own drum, for sure. And in her younger days, I heard all kinds of stories, shooting out guns. She'd make belts out of snakes. Just really, really interesting person. So here she is, tiny, tiny little person. And she always used to decorate, not just for Christmas. I mean for everything. She'd cut out, she's 85 years old and arthritic, cutting out little shamrocks. Just shamrocks out of junk mail that happened to be the right color for her. Or shape or whatever. Just like crazy stuff that looks crazy to me because I don't know. I'm logical, I guess. I guess I couldn't see the point because she lived by herself. Like, why would you do this? Because I'm so interested as an INFJ in what everyone else is experiencing that I forget I am experiencing. So on my peripheral awareness, I would see this lady always in the back of my head, and I would tell these stories about her, and I would say to people, you should watch her on Easter. Take these little plastic eggs, make them, open them up and swap them, those little round plastic eggs that you might put a candy in, swap all the colors so they're all half and half, put little strings in the middle and tie them from a tree. And since she was so tiny, she could only hang them on the bottom limbs of the tree. I mean, how cute is that? And she did it for herself. And I was always aware and fascinated. And that tells me I was interested. My bigger self, my soul, whatever, was interested. Like listening, watching. Because that's kind of what we do, right? But I guess I wasn't ready to absorb it and become that. So I kind of kept burning myself out with the Christmas. And then finally I said, I don't have to put this up. I'm not religious, blah, blah, whatever. And then we didn't do Christmas. I bought a couple of presents for a couple people last year, and I had like a little corner in my house with a candle. But that was just because their presents were sitting there. And I'd hang up their Christmas cards, and I sent some just because they sent some. And that was kind of it. It was like, well, I guess this is how it's going to be for the rest of my life. But I've evolved. I think I'm integrating my other functions. And to me, I'm maturing as a spirit, which means it's like an evolution. Your soul has an evolution. And it's kind of a balancing. And again, I'm remembering to include myself. So, the answer is it's whatever I want it to be. Christmas or whatever you're playing with yourself about. It's whatever you say. That's what ripples out from you. You don't need to be or do anything. I'm giving you permission. All you were ever asked to do is to be whoever you think you are when you came here. That's it. That's it. Just like Neil Donald Walsh said this once about there's nothing on that blackboard. There's no to do. You don't have to do anything. That's the beauty of life. All you have to do is be as fully you as you can. The best you can do. That's all. You don't owe anyone anything. You don't owe anyone a tree. You don't owe anyone a moment. You don't owe anyone anything. If you wish to do it, then you will. So how I got to that point this year was let it all be okay. as soon as I gave myself permission to let anything I thought up be okay, all Christmas, half Christmas, no Christmas, corner Christmas, like I had with the presents in the little sanctuary in the corner. And I've done a lot of in-betweens, just pacifying. Ooh, I don't know. Somebody, if they came over, I guess, so they didn't bug me. I didn't need to do any of that. You don't owe anyone anything. Now, you may have children, and you may say, but, shouldn't I create for them? If you understand that you're in an energetic world, what you're actually giving them is the energy inside of you when they're watching you. So you can choose to put up a Christmas reluctantly, and you're going to give them that energy. You can choose to not have a Christmas in your house and walk around and enjoy decorations in other people's homes or the mall, or say, isn't that beautiful, isn't that lovely? And you can give them that. Give them the choice. Don't give them the obligation. Can you feel that you're giving them what energy you're putting out by your emotions and your feelings and your beliefs? So don't worry about that. Just allow yourself to be okay on whatever you decide, and then see what comes out. Because after I allowed myself to be okay with anything, well, I found myself in the basement, the place that I dread the most, because this is where my memories are locked away. And I allowed myself to, get that stuff and decorate. My husband and I are not religious. He's already the only person that lives here already has told me, and I believe him, he does not care. So then it's just me, just like his grandma, putting up the eggs, cutting out the shamrocks, decorating a tree with chili peppers because that's what she likes. Like, I got it. You do for you, giving yourself permission. You do for you. If you do it with a glad-filled heart and love in your heart and joy in your heart, then whatever will happen because it's appropriate for you. And that's what you're giving to your family. You'll just trust it. Just trust that you're doing these things because you want to do them. Come from the right place first. Just, if you're having those bad feelings, give yourself a break, step away from it. Let everything be okay ahead of time. Say, I'm going to love myself whether I want to put up decorations or not. And then you'll find that you'll do whatever comes naturally for you. Okay? I know I was all over the place. I often am. I hope this was helpful to you. And happy holidays. Bye.